Sorry about that. I'm not quite sure what happened. Let me share my screen again. I'll start that side. I think I lost connection. Okay. Squeals rise from the sledging hill, cheers from the pole climbing contest, and laughter from the stalls selling food and drink. A snowball whizzes past Sasha's head and lands at my feet. I look up to the top of the ice fort, where it was thrown from. A mischief as small children are hiding behind the battlements, giggling. Little Vanya pokes his head out. Look how many snowballs we've made, Yanka. He gestures to a toppling pile and smiles proudly. Will you be on our team for the siege game? We're defending. Me and Sasha already signed up to attack. I squish the snowball back together and throw it up to him. So you better save these for me. Let's go sledging. Sasha punches my arm. I glance over the top of his head to Momocha. She's serving a customer, but she winks and waves me away. Go and have some fun. Sasha leads the way across the square, weaving through crowds that part ahead of me. People always move out of my way because I'm so big. They look at me differently too, staring a little longer, smiling a little more stiffly. To Sasha, they just nod a greeting. To me, they say, Yanka the bear, either whispered in awe or shouted too loud. Today, it's worse than ever, because the visitors from distant villages haven't seen me since the last festival, and I've grown over a foot in that time. I wonder if it's as much space would widen around a real bear in a village, and for a moment I want to roar just to see people's reaction. But when Sasha stops to talk to some children from school, I only hang back silently, fiddling with the wolf claw in my pocket. Lileya, one of the girls my age, turns to me and smiles. I heard you're carrying Winter. I feel a fleeting flush of pride, but it disappears when I notice the sharpness in her eyes and the sting in her smile. It's strange they chose you, she continues. I don't think you've done much for the village this season. You hardly talk to anyone apart from Sasha, and you spend most of your time in the forest. And carrying Winter is a village tradition. Lileya's friend, Oksana, chimes in. And you weren't born in the village, were you? I've lived here nearly all of my life, I shrug, pretending not to be bothered by their words. But anger prickles beneath my skin. Why do they have to remind me how different I am when it's so obvious anyway? They were probably forced to choose Yanka. Lileya waves her hand dismissively in my direction. Winter is massive this year, and they've tied her to a heavy birch pole. No one else would be strong enough to carry her. That's true, Oksana nods, and they turn away to carry on the conversation they were having before I arrived. They're just jealous. Paulina, another girl from school, mouths behind their backs. I return her smile. Paulina is always nice to me, though she's not really a friend. Like Lileya said, I don't spend enough time talking to anyone in the village to make friends. I only grew so close to Sasha because we live next door to each other. It's a relief when Sasha finishes talking and we move away from the others onto the sledging hill. I pick the strongest, sturdiest looking sledge from the jumble at the bottom and drag it up the steep slope. Sitting at the top, high above the village square, the forest at my back and the great frozen river stretching all the way to the horizon, I take a long, cool breath and my muscles relax. Race you! Sasha shouts and shoots off ahead of me. I lean back on the sledge, pull tight on the rope and speed up down the hill. For a moment, my whole body lifts into the air and I gasp in a cloud of ice. Then I bump back onto the track, jolting my heart into my throat. I overtake Sasha and skid to a halt in a flurry of snow. I rise to my feet, legs shaking, skin tingling hot and cold, and a huge smile making my cheeks ache. Sasha swooshes into powdery snow next to me and rolls off his sledge laughing. No one else races like you, Yanka. You're fearless. He scrambles to his feet and grins. Again? I nod, even though I've grown taller than Sasha this winter. As we tramp back up the slope, I feel like we still fit together somehow. We race down the hill over and over until my lungs are raw and my legs burning from dragging the sledge back up. Then a drum roll sounds, quietly at first, building until it reverberates like thunder around the square. Sasha and I abandon our sledges and join the crowd flowing towards the stage. My skin tingles with excitement, because the festival show is about to begin. Okay, year 6. So sorry about that little interruption in the middle, but hopefully you were following on your Kindle anyway. Now, what I would like you to do is you have a Google Doc for reading session 4 for your answers. And the first thing you're going to do is to find 5 words from the text that you find interesting. It might be words, hopefully it'll be words that you don't know what the meaning is, because what I'd like you to do is to find the meaning of those words within a dictionary, using your dictionary on your Kindle or on the internet, if you haven't got an actual book at home. And I would like you to write down the meaning of the word as well. Okay, so not only write the word, but write the meaning as well. The next section, the next question is, explain what Janke means by saying, why do they have to remind me how different I am when it's so obvious anyway? So we know she's slightly different to the rest of the people in the village and the rest of the children, but I would like you to tell me why she feels, why do they have to remind me? It's so obvious. So what is she talking about? What obvious things is she talking about? Remember to start with, Janke means, or the quotation, and then write down the quotation, means that, and then use the question to answer the question. Now, the next section is, how do they make her feel different? What do they do? So linking in with the question above about how different she recognizes she's different, and she recognizes that it's so obvious. But I want you to tell me, how do they make her feel different? What do they do to her that they don't do to other people? And there's a lot of evidence from chapters 1, 2, and 3 that you can use in this. Use your point, evidence, and explain. So point, I think they make her feel different because. Number 2, I know this because, and then find evidence from the text using inverted commas. And you might find a few examples, not just 1 or 2, okay? And then tell me what that means. This tells me that. So what do those quotations tell us? Do they treat her differently because she's an outsider? Do they treat her differently because she's much larger than everybody else? Okay, so think about how they make her feel different and what they do. So what do their actions do? Okay, remember that thing where we talked about the actions and what the actions show us, all right? Okay, so that's reading session 4. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope as well that we can move on to session 5 tomorrow. So you'll have the next video tomorrow ready for us. Okay, have a lovely Thursday, and I hope to hear from you soon. Bye-bye.